stays late and he works very hard. Some players like to work on things that they're good at, but Cam's the type of player that works on things that he's not as good at and really tries to improve on a daily basis, and that's something that I really respect about him. He's got a great personality. He gets along with everybody. He's very social and has a great presence, whether it's in a small room of a couple people or in a bigger group, and he's highly competitive. He's very, very competitive on the field. He always wants to do his best and do better than the guys competing against, and you see that from everybody's competitive, but I think there are different degrees of it, and it looks like I would, based on what I've seen, I would put him in the top echelon of that.
Really interesting, especially coming from Coach Belichick, obviously the coach with the most jewelry in the league, guys, but usually he doesn't elaborate to that level about players. Really high praise for Cam. Marcus Spears back here with us. Max, I'll start with you. What do you think Belichick is really saying here if we're kind of dissecting and reading between the lines?
Well, he's saying Cam has greatness on the inside, or the potential for it. Everyone sees why Cam can be great physically on the outside. He's big, strong, fast. He has a big arm. What Belichick is saying is he has the greatness and the potential for it on the inside. When you listen to what he said, there were two things that jumped out at me. One, if you hear all of the audio, he was talking about a lot of guys want to get better at the stuff they're already good at. Like if they can bench a lot, they want to throw more weight on the bench because that positive reinforcement feels good. Cam works on stuff and wants to work on the stuff he's not good at. That's not everybody who has that impulse. Let me go to it and shore that up. And the other thing is he's competitive in everything. You hear this about Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant, right? Everything. If you're running sprints up the hill, he wants to be the first. He wants to beat everyone at everything he does. When you have that kind of competitiveness and that kind of work ethic, that's what Belichick means when he says highest possible echelon. And now, guys, that's what he means when he says it. But let me say what the effect of all of this is. Tom Brady left the Patriots, and he left the cupboard bare. No Jimmy G, no real backup that was ready. Apologies to Stidham. The defense is in shambles, compounded by the fact that guys were opting out of the bubble. So the thing that made them special last couple of years, including taking Tom Brady to the Super Bowl, was the defense. That's not going to be the same, most likely. And we've all bemoaned the lack of offensive weapons for Tom Brady, right? Well, that's what Cam is coming into. That's what Belichick is left with. And he's aware that his quarterback, Tom Brady, has every single thing someone could want down in Tampa. Got all the weapons, the coaching, the offensive coordinator, an underrated defense, everything. And Gronk has everything you could want. And Belichick has to be aware that the probably number one debate in sports and football these last several decades, is it more Belichick or Brady? At least that debate is way up there. Is it more Belichick or Brady? Brady has set himself up lovely, and Belichick is making no excuses. When he says this, he's actually putting pressure on himself because he has all the raw material he needs to work with. Cam's got to learn the system, just like Brady does in Tampa. Belichick is leaving himself no excuses. Is it Belichick or Brady? Who's it been more?
Well, I'm not going to say that you're wrong about that, Max. I'm just going to express what entered my head as I listened to him speaking. I don't cover the New England Patriots. I don't know Bill Belichick personally. Don't speak to him or anything like that. So I'm definitely coming from an outsider just looking at it. Every time I hear him speak so glowingly about Cam, all I could think about is, what are you trying to say about Brady? You talk about competitiveness. What was Brady's record? 219-64 as your starting quarterback. 6 Super Bowl championships, 9 trips to the Super Bowl. Okay, I'm just like 16 or 17 AFC East crowns and his 19 years there or whatever. I mean, what the hell are we talking about here? And so, it's not, I'm appreciative of the fact that he's saying this about Cam, because I think Cam is at a point in his career where he needs this desperately. He needs a great coach like Bill Belichick vowing for his football character. He doesn't take shortcuts. He works his tail off. He puts in the work. He's on his grind. He's committed to excellence. He's not somebody who believes that he's arrived. He doesn't have this big head and this big chest sticking out thinking that, you know what, I'm the man. I don't have to listen to anybody. All the things that they do to hold against a quarterback, particularly an African-American quarterback. Those are the kind of things that would concern me about Cam Newton, because we've heard mimicking and chitter-chatter about him from time to time, which I thought was patently false. So the fact that Bill Belichick is speaking about him this way, I'm incredibly happy about that, because I think it elevates Cam's chances, not just with the Patriots, but league-wide. To have somebody like Belichick speaking about his football character and his willingness to put in the work, make the sacrifices, bet on himself, galvanizing teammates, stuff like that. It's all great for Cam. I just find myself thinking, you know, damn, I mean, I ain't really hear you say that about Brady. And we've all heard that those elements were a part of Brady's character from everybody else that played with Brady, with the New England Patriots organization. But we really haven't heard that from Bill Belichick, especially over the last several years. So it just finds me with a huge question mark, Marcus, hovering over my head, literally saying, so what are you really, really trying to say here? Is that really about Cam, or is it really about what you've had to deal with Brady over the latter part of his career in New England?
Stephen A., I don't think you need a question mark. Listen, as much as this whole thing is played out, it's pretty safe to say that Belichick and Brady ain't really cool like that, or like everybody wish it was because of the amount of success that they had. But I don't want to take this away from Cam, man. This is, to your point, the thing that I heard you say to me that resonates is Belichick has identified what Cam Newton does, and he has a great amount of respect for it. There is one guy that you can get Belichick to talk about and go crazy over, and that's Lawrence Taylor. Anytime somebody mentions Lawrence Taylor, Belichick goes on for however long you need him to go on to give that player that amount of respect. There's two things in play here. There's the coaching aspect of instilling confidence in the guy that's going to start for you day one at the quarterback spot. So it's a bit of playing the coaches, making sure that you're giving the guy confidence and he's hearing the right things as you go into a season. The second part is he just respect Cam. He just respects the way Cam is going about his business. He sees now that he has Cam in this building that maybe some preconceived things that he possibly thought doesn't exist based on their relationship up until this standpoint. I hate getting in this conversation about, well, is he trying to speak to Tom Brady, or is he throwing subliminal messages his way? I just don't believe that that's Bill Belichick's personality. I don't believe that that's his character. All of our time we've seen Bill Belichick operate as a head coach. He pretty much say what he mean. And if he don't want to say anything, he doesn't say anything. So him look, as much as we talk about Tom Brady having 6 championships and being the greatest of all time, guess what coach got 6 championships? Bill Belichick. So I'm kind of done with, like, I'm not going to say that Bill Belichick
Marcus, who
is
was it more,
hurling
Belichick or
subliminal
Brady?
Insults at Tom. Who what?
Who deserved more credit for it, Belichick or Brady, for the success? Who deserved more credit for it, Belichick or Brady?
To me, it's Brady.
That's what I'm saying.
And
that's
look,
the argument. To me, it's Belichick, and it divides the sports world, not just New England, but the sports world has been asking this question now for decades.
Okay, that's fine, but Bill Belichick has never cared about that. Bill Belichick got 6 Super Bowls. Regardless of who was more, Bill Belichick was the head coach, Tom Brady was the quarterback. We could keep pretending that they want to play this game. Competitive nature in both of these guys are high, but they ain't competing against each other. If Bill Belichick wanted Tom Brady to be the quarterback in New England, guess where Tom Brady would be? In New England.
I agree. I don't think that every time he talks about Cam, he's thinking about Brady. Or do you not think that, since we're all aware of it, that Brady and Belichick don't live on this planet with the rest of us and are also aware with it, and since they're the principal characters, and since they're the greatest of all time, and the question is, but who is more responsible for the other's success? You don't think that as competitive men, especially as competitive as the two GOATs are, that they don't want to prove, no, it was more them? I mean, if they didn't, they wouldn't be human.
My point is this, Max. Like that's a logical thought that they could have that in the back of their mind. The bottom line is this, though. They're both responsible for each other's success. Like that's what the reality is, regardless of all of the things that they may think. They are both responsible for each other's success. You cannot separate Bill Belichick and Tom Brady from the success of the New England Patriots. So whether they play in that game or not, but I'm not going to take away from the work. I'm not taking away from the work that Cam doing to say that Bill Belichick is using Cam and propping Cam up to build against Tom Brady. Cam doing this thing, Bill Belichick telling y'all that he like it.
Pastor Spears. We hear you loud and clear, my brother. Even with the glistening beard, we're not distracted. We hear you loud and clear. Here's the other point that I wanted to add before we go. He will remain nameless. He will remain nameless because he did not give me his name. But this guy, I've known him for many years. He's a former member of the New England Patriots. Played for Bill Belichick. Here's what he said. Bill doesn't judge guys. He gives everybody a clean slate. Bill is not worried about Tom at all. He's not there any longer. He's not concerned. Coach deserves the credit. Peyton Manning, in our system, would have won 5 or 6 Super Bowls. End of discussion. That's from a Patriot who will remain nameless. I just want to let y'all know.
Well, that nameless Patriot is on the side of Belichick then. That's what I deduce right there. All right, guys.
Yes.
The Pats have had 19 straight winning seasons. Yes, Stephen A., only one franchise has had more. Wait for this. The Cowboys. Marcus, we will see you later on NFL Live. We appreciate you, sir, as always. Coming up on First Take, Richard Jefferson's joining us. Whatever, Stephen A. And we're starting a little NBA talk again. The MVP couldn't get it done in Game 1. What's really going on with Giannis? We debate that, plus more sports action. The U.S. Open right after us here on ESPN from Flushing, Queens. Andy Murray getting set. See him play today.